Hi guys. Today I'll introduce you one of the greatest poems of English Romantic literature, The Ode to the West Wind, written by Percy B. Shelley. As you already know, Shelley belongs to the so-called second generation of Romantic poets, along with the other two well-known rebels of the time, Byron, the hero, the rug, and Keats. Oh, well, as you know, rebel doesn't suit him very much. It could be said more like an English leopardy than a warrior, but let's go on. The main feature of the second generation, apart from the miserable fact that they all three died very young, is their disillusionment after the French Revolution and their commitment to social issues. As we'll see, this Ode to the West Wind clearly recaps all these themes. But first of all, what is an ode? Definition. It is a classical lyric poem. It was originally meant to be sung in public. In fact, it is a poem that is addressed to a particular subject, and it's meant to glorify and praise an event or an individual. This is the end of the definition. In this presentation, I don't want to analyze every single line of the poem or figure out the structure and the themes. I'll focus on the addressee of this ode, the wind and its symbolism. The poet describes the effect of this wind typical of autumn on earth, on sky, and on the sea. And it gives us, in the very first part of the problem, a definition of this wind that would be basic, central to understand the whole poem. Shelley defines the wind, a destroyer and a preserver. But what does the autumn wind actually do? It destroys the dead leaves and it preserves the seeds. It is a sort of inevitable passage from winter to spring. So it is essential, necessary, inevitable to destroy life in order to preserve a new cycle of life. But wait a minute, there's something coming into my mind with this word, inevitable. Oh, yes. What does it actually mean? Ineluctable. I am inevitable, as known as ineluctable. Yes, that's it. That's what I had in mind. Thanos. If you have still doubts regarding the word ineluctable, here are some others synonyms: inevitable, unavoidable, inescapable. So, the definition of ineluctable, remember we are not talking about how Tony Stark had died, but we're still talking about the west wind, is impossible to avoid. If we think about circles of season, we already know that autumn is impossible to avoid. As we said before, it's a passage from winter to spring, from death to life. It's a destroyer and a preserver. So, after the spreading of death on earth, that is the winter, we need spring, rebirth. And rebirth is a word that is underlined, so it's a keyword. Remember, death here is not only the end of life, but is also a symbol of oppression in society. Tell me a bulb has lighted up in your mind. So, according to Shelley, what we need is a change. We need to get rid of present day rules to construct an entire new society that will be even better than this one we live in. So, the wind is a wind of change against oppression in society. Society needs this wind that is able to blow away those rules that we are no longer bearable, and at the same time, it is able to preserve what is still good for a new start, for a rebirth. And according to Shelley, this change is possible only with poetry. So the task of the poet is being a prophet of this change throughout all his poems. Thank you very much for your attention. Any question or doubts, please contact me or post me here below.